and there's panic in the market, and people come back and say, hey, let me get that crypto, the one that I purchased and left on your exchange. Can I want to sell that, or I want to transfer it out, to somewhere else. There's a lot of fear in the market. They're like, oh man, we don't really have that right now. Welcome back, YouTube. So we see that Dogecoin, Bitcoin, and other coins are all getting the bounce. So a lot of the questions that I'm seeing is it over? Are we pretty much headed to the moon? Have we hit the floor? Are we going to recover right now? Have I missed my opportunity to buy the dip? I highly doubt it. Here's why. As you guys know, I'm really big on macros and looking at the events and what is currently happening to kind of paint me an overall picture so that I'm not so isolated just on price. Because I like looking at the price, I like looking at the charts, but I also like to figure out, okay, why is the current price right now? That's why I look at shorts and kind of factor in the macro events. And when we look at the macro events and shorts and stuff like that, and just the overall picture, we can see that there's really not a strong indicator that we have recovered or that there is just a reversal. Remember, we are not just looking for reversals in prices. We're looking for reversals in what caused the corrections and what caused the current prices that we see now and what caused the current situations that we see now. And we haven't got those reversals. As a matter of fact, if we look week over week, things have gotten much worse in the macro situation compared to the previous weeks. And I have a highlight here of just the last few, pretty much I have a highlight here of just last week, and to kind of go over with you. So I'm just going to rattle off a list here that I have. As of Friday, and from Thursday to Friday, we had around $580 million liquidated. Tether is pretty much going through the ringer here as people are really panicking and running away from Tether, down about 20%, as threats that they have a lot of money invested in Evergrande bonds, which are due to receive around a 90% haircut. Evergrande was pretty much delisted from the stock market because pretty much we know they still owe money to billions of dollars to a number of banks around the world. Goldman Sachs reported that this is the second time, or the second most amount of shorts that they've seen in history, pretty much this past week, which is letting us know that the institutions have become extremely short-sighted as well, which they normally are. Their short positions are typically massive compared to long. That's typically how the market works. They tell you to go long and they go short. But when we see a spike in shorts, that means that they're extremely bearish on the market, and they're absolutely trying to generate as much cash in the short term as possible. So this is an indication here of further liquidations or events that they're planning on using that cash for in the near future. There's a reason why they're trying to capitalize right now when you have so much uncertainty going into the future. And then, of course, we have limiting amount of withdrawals or stops altogether by companies like Binance, Celsius. We've seen a number of these even in the stock market in the last 24 months. This all comes down to liquidity issues. This is what happens when you loan out cryptos and people's assets several times, and there's panic in the market, and people come back and say, hey, let me get that crypto, the one that I purchased and left on your exchange. Can I want to sell that, or I want to transfer it out, to somewhere else. There's a lot of fear in the market. They're like, oh man, we don't really have that right now. So give us a few days. And that's what's pissing a lot of people off, because you say, oh, give us a few days, but meanwhile, it's going through the floor. So if I am trying to exit the position or simply try and trade it, who covers that gap in price? And typically you have to kind of eat that. It's just like when you put in an order and it takes a while for it to fill before it executes. You can call it slippage or whatever you want, but typically you eat that. And you're saying, why do I have to wait? You guys are supposed to have this. And they're like, updates, liquidity issues. And then you have companies that's going out and borrowing money right now. Like Voyager just went out and borrowed around $500 million from FTX. This is all painting the picture here of the macro events that I'm trying to tell you that has not given us concrete evidence that we're going to see a reversal. And not to mention, outside of all the things that I've said from these multi-billion-dollar companies that I just named, we have not seen a reversal in our biggest macro, which is the interest rates. That's going to give us an idea as far as for the Feds and the CPI numbers, and breaking it down right into our pockets. How much money are we going to have to spend on things like food, energy, housing, and stuff like that? And ultimately, how much money, or if we're going to have any money left over to even invest in the first place. And we have absolutely zero evidence that this is going to get even better. We have zero evidence that this is actually going to get better this current month, And we have a lot of evidence that it actually won't. This doesn't mean that we've bottomed out and the coin can't absolutely just rally right now. Rallies are typically normal. It's rare that things fall and they keep falling unless they've just been absolutely rug pulled. I believe a lot of the coins like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, it can't be rug pulled just because of the size of the communities. But when you have certain thresholds or when they hit certain points, you're going to see bounces. You're going to see, that's what points of resistance are for. They're there to bounce. They're there for, algorithms or traders and long-term investors to feel comfortable entering in these positions at certain numbers. That's fine. Even statements like Elon Musk saying he's going to continue buying Dogecoin. This is going to incite people to purchase and enter into these positions. And no matter which coin you're looking at, even Ethereum, these are all great prices, especially if you're a long-term investor. If you're thinking 5-10 years from now, these prices people will be praying for these prices that we're seeing right now. So it's not like any of them are getting screwed or they're buying at the height of a bull market. So people that are making these entries now and we get these bounces, that's perfectly fine. But that's not an indicator or that we've hit a floor here and this is just going to take off. Remember, markets do not rally in times of uncertainty. And we don't have much certainty on anything. And we have a lot of evidence here that these companies are over leveraged and they need money. That's strong evidence here that we can still consolidate further. I do believe that some coins can consolidate further than others just because of who's invested in them and their current correction percentage. But we have to look at the absolute facts. Dogecoin is a lot closer to the maximum side of that correction compared to actual Bitcoin. Bitcoin is around like 70%. Bitcoin from 2013 to 2016 corrected 86%. If it did the full 86% this year, that would put Bitcoin at like $9,400, something like that. That is not out of the question. Bitcoin has done that before. Other coins have, coins are consolidating at different rates here. So we have to kind of take that into effect when it comes into, okay, I'm going to DCA or I'm just going to buy the dip. You have to kind of take that into effect and know your numbers. We see here on the chart, this is the Dogecoin short chart. We see we see the 21-day moving average, which is that yellow line, literally just blasting off like a rocket ship. We got a huge spike up. As a matter of fact, we have not seen this level of shorts since, November of last year. Things are just really picking up here as far as for the shorts. But we have a small consolidation here, but I'm assuming the volume that came in from the Elon tweet was sufficient enough to get a bounce in the coin. And same thing with Bitcoin. In times when you have low volume and panic in the market, it doesn't take a lot of buying pressure or selling pressure to move the coin in any direction, because it's not like there's an intense battleground. There's always more activity going on with Bitcoin, but with Dogecoin, the volume was really, really low. So it's not going to take a lot of price action to move the coin. So even right now, if Elon came out and said that he's going to put $1 billion or something in there, and that'll really get everybody going, that price can really just take off because the orders and stuff like that are not there. And the shorts, yes, they're still in the position, but they're not there right now. They're pretty much coming out of it, and they aren't actively putting that selling pressure on there. Even if you look at the heat map, you won't see like multiple layers of sell orders. You'll just see it trending right above the equilibrium. Same thing you see here with Bitcoin. You'll see a consolidation, pretty much a pullout of the shorts here. It could potentially be doing a swap, but today you can see that they're doing a consolidation in the overall market. And then ultimately, yes, that's going to help with these bounces that we're seeing and getting the coin moving in the positive direction. But overall, we have to keep in mind that the volume is absolutely low, and people are certainly buying at these prices. So any retraction that we see on the negative selling pressure, coupled with the buying pressure that's coming in, is going to result in a positive movement. So what are we looking for this week? We're looking for answers and looking at the macro events here to see if there's going to be any more companies that are threatening bankruptcy. Are they shuffling money around? Are they borrowing money? This is going to be an indicator as far as what's going on the inside. Consider this like you're looking through like a glass window and you're kind of getting the indication of the stability of these companies, because when nothing tells more than people panicking in the market and saying, okay, well, we want our money or we want our crypto, and companies not being able to produce, and then those same companies going out and borrowing hundreds of millions of dollars. That is a sign that there's over leverage, and they may struggle through these absolute times. Remember, it's easy to make money. Everybody makes money in the bull market, but a lot of these exchanges and businesses and stuff like that are going to suffer in a bear market. Always keep that in mind before you say it's over. I hope this video finds you well. Please like the video if you found any value. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. It's absolutely free, and that is certainly a way that you can support the channel at no cost to you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Until next time.